Well, there's just 10 days left. I know it's hard to believe of 2010, and that means time is running out for those year-end write-offs. And for more on some of the items that you might want to purchase and maybe some of those write-offs that you might be thinking about, we have money expert Deirdre Morhet here this morning with help. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
We were talking about this in the newsroom last week, thinking, okay, are there actually tax write-offs? What can you write off? What are you going to get in trouble for? But you say, let's begin with the FSA.
Yeah.
Use it or lose it. What is this all about?
Well, flexible spending counts are pretty big out there. A lot of people participate in those. Well, some of the changes next year aren't going to allow people to use over-the-counter medications and pay for those with their FSA funds. So if you have money left in your FSA, go ahead and stock up now, because without a prescription next year, you won't be able to do that with those funds.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Now, I don't know if you've received any of these in the mail, but they've been mailers about getting more energy efficient. There are some benefits to this. Yes,
absolutely. If you've been thinking about and toying with the idea, there's still definitely enough time to go ahead and go out there and get some, those projects put in place, solar water heaters, other appliances, and so forth, and you could save up to 30% or up to $1,500 on your federal tax bill with those credits.
Keep in mind, you'll want to keep those receipts, obviously, but the installation has to happen before the calendar turns over to 2011.
That's right, by December 31st.
There's a really great initiative, and this is what triggered this talk in our newsroom about being able to give to schools. This is a great way to get a write-off in and help kids at the same time.
Absolutely. There's one of our great Arizona projects right now, the tuition tax credits. You can donate to public schools, $200 if you're single, $400 for married couples. And what's great also is you can donate to private school tuition organizations, and you can do $500 if you're single and $1,000 if you're married. And it's great because you can combine those at the end of the year, so for some good credits.
Which is fantastic. All right, so if you're sitting there thinking, okay, that's cool, but I've also got a lot of stuff kind of hanging out at my house. I want to hit the Goodwill in the next 10 days. You know that slip that they give you at the very end of the donation? Don't forget to use that with an itemized list.
Absolutely. Keep track of everything during the year that you donate to those organizations as non-cash donations. Keep an itemized list. You can work with your tax professional on what the values of those are at the end of the year. Some donations that are over $5,000 you would need a qualified appraisal for, but
you certainly don't want to alert the IRS, right? Which is why it's so important
to keep that
itemization.
Absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
Because so often, I mean, I think a lot of us just kind of, we lose that slip. I'll just, I'll speak for myself. I lose those slips and I'm thinking, well, what do you do with them anyway?
Yeah, or they forget to write down exactly what they were using them for. And it's really important that you keep track of the date, who you gave it to, and what the items were that you donated.
Okay, and last but not least, one that many of you may not have thought of. You say it's important to prepay your bills. Why?
Yeah, if there's some last minute things you can do, if you itemize your taxes, you can actually make your January mortgage payment in December, get credit for that interest on this year's taxes versus next year, or prepaying some medical bills you might be putting off and so forth. So any of those things that you might itemize, if you can accelerate any of that in December and take those deductions for this year, then you can definitely help yourself out.
Okay, you mentioned medical bills. Can we write off the copay? Or is it the treatment and then the
Well, it depends on how you pay for it. Usually if it's pre-tax dollars out of your paycheck, no, that's already taken into account. But all your other, that's your premiums, but your co-pays and your other expenses, definitely.
Okay. Deirdre, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Making sense of a lot of stuff that can be a little intimidating.